Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic, aka Railworks. Today we're going to be taking a look at the next step in the VR9Fs from VictoryWorks. This is the Crosti Boiler Edition. This is a separate pack available through Steam Sound Supreme. This goes hand in hand with their main 9F pack, which comes with the standard 9F in its many different configurations, as well as the Crosti boilered models, which is the rebuilt Crosties. And then there's a completely separate pack, which does require the original pack, but there's a separate pack which adds on these locomotives in particular. This is the Crosti boilered variants, which do run and operate as a Crosti boilered locomotive. So, what is a Crosti boiler? Well, let me find my particular important piece of notations here. But in 1955, 10 locomotives were built with the Franco-Crosti boiler, which incorporated a combustion gas feed water preheater that recuperated low-grade residual heat. So, in essence, it used leftover heat from the locomotive to preheat the water before putting it in the boiler. The standard chimney on top of the smoke box was only used during lighting up. The normal working, the gases went through fire tubes inside the preheater drum that led to a second smoke box situated beneath the boiler, from which there emerged a chimney on the right-hand side just forward of the firebox. In the event the experiment did not deliver the hoped-for benefits to justify the cost and complexity. Moreover, conditions were unpleasant on the footplate and a crosswind, in spite of the later provision using a smoke deflector. Later on in life, the locomotives were rebuilt. The experiment obviously proved to be pretty much unsuccessful, and oddly enough, the locomotives did arrange the original smoke box. So, that is, in short, what these locomotives are. So it's created this kind of odd design with a tank that rides down in between the frame here that preheats the water before putting it up into the boiler. And it ends up pushing your exhaust gases back here through a series of tubes into your new location for a smoke box back here. Or rather for a smokestack back here. Kind of cool, kind of unique, kind of odd. Here's the model without a smoke deflector. So this edition in and of itself is fairly small. All you're going to get is all BR black models. That's all they wore. They only used one particular type of tender for the 9S, which is the BR1B, I believe. And you'll get a deflector and non-deflector variant in both black and worn. So not a huge expansion. I kind of feel like it could have been included. Oh well. Yeah, that's really about it. I mean, I don't mean to play it off like it's nothing major, but it's just different. I don't really know how else to describe it. So there are some things that are going to obviously change between this locomotive and a standard 9F. The most painfully obvious being the exhaust over here on the side, as well as this big drum down below the boiler here, creating this odd boiler design overall. And then, of course, a plugged firebox, or a plugged smoke box here. And, you know, from here back, it's pretty much a 9F. And from the frame down, it's pretty much a 9F. Now, obviously, it is a VictoryWorks model, so it has advanced modes to run it the hard way or the easy way, take your pick. And it is a VictoryWorks model, so you can change things. I'll go ahead and pull this up, because I didn't do this in the last video. I probably should have. But this is the manual for the Crosti boiler variants. And when you place these into a scenario, when you double click on the locomotive, you'll get a flyout over here on the right. And it will let you change various items, such as, obviously, locomotive number, the shed code, logo, power class display, GWR power disc, overhead warning labels, ash pan doors, speedometer, AWS ATC, cab shelf, and head code. Whistle, bell, or whistle sounds, rod clanking. Most of that's, I think, remains the same pretty much throughout, including even the boiler, the cab. Most of your operation is going to be pretty much the same thing to the original 9F pack. Your bells, your whistles, everything like that. Nothing too weird, true, or freaky. Well, I could see how that exhaust would cause some problems. Right square into that cab. That's kind of crazy. That'd be unfortunate for anybody running it. We are very much boogieing. Way too quick. Obviously, I don't have much of a train behind this thing, so it doesn't take much for it to pick up and go. Sounds are pretty good. I do believe they're pretty much the same sounds as the first pack, which are done by Steam Sound Supreme, so obviously they're pretty darn good. They're hard to argue with. pretty much it. I mean, it's not going to be a wildly different video than the first 9F video. It is an experimental 9F, however, it is still a 9F, so there's no real reason to dive off into the deeper history of things, and it's not a huge pack to really go over. It's not a first look. It's pretty much just it's a Crosti 9F. It's got a funky boiler that, truth be told, is some ugly, for lack of a better term, but it is pretty cool. You know, we don't typically see experimental designs like this put in the game, much less by a big developer, so it's definitely pretty cool. You can check these out on Steam Sound Supreme, right next to the 9F pack, right next to the core pack. You do need the core pack to be able to play with these, so I highly recommend going and checking them out. But I do believe that is it, so hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.